23rd of April, the European Union, the EU's executive arm, announced its first major penalties under the New Digital Markets Act, or DMA. Apple was fined 500 million euros, roughly $570 million, and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, was hit with a 200 million euros fine, that is about $228 million. Apple's penalty centers on what regulators called anti-steering practices. Under the DMA, Apple must let app developers inform users about cheaper or alternative offers outside the App Store, without restrictions or extra fees. But the EU found Apple still make it hard for developers to steer customers to better deals elsewhere, limiting customer choice and competition. Meta's fine targets its controversial consent or pay model. Since late 2023, EU users of Facebook and Instagram had to either agree to share their personal data for targeted ads or pay a subscription for an ad-free experience. The EU says this forced choice violates the Digital Markets Act, which requires platforms to offer a less intrusive, more privacy-friendly service without making users pay extra. Both tech giants are now pushing back. Apple claims the EU is unfairly targeting American companies and says the changes demanded could hurt user privacy and product security. Meta argues the EU is imposing rules that disadvantage US firms while letting Chinese and European rivals off the hook. These fines come as US-EU trade tensions are on the rise. President Trump has criticized what he calls overseas extortion of American tech companies and has threatened and even imposed new tariffs on EU goods in response. The penalties, though large, are actually smaller than some past EU fines against big tech for antitrust violations. But they mark a new era of strict digital regulation and could fuel further transatlantic disputes. Apple and Meta have 60 days to comply with the EU's orders or face even steeper penalties. Both companies plan to appeal, but the message from Brussels is clear. Tech giants must play by Europe's rules or pay the price. White House have already called this a novel form of economic extortion, and that will not be tolerated by the United States. Trump earlier warned tariffs for sanctions on US companies. Will these fines change how Apple and Meta operate in Europe? Will they spark a broader tech trade war? And what does it all mean for your privacy and your wallet?